Here's the thing. My dad was a maintenance technician at an auto parts factory in a small town in Ohio. Salary? At the peak of his career, about $3,200 a month. It wasn't poverty, but it wasn't anything extraordinary either. My mom passed away when I was 12. He raised 3 kids on his own. Me, my older brother Marcus, and my middle sister Carla. Look, I need to be honest here. My siblings had a complicated relationship with my dad. Marcus always thought he was too complacent. He was always saying that if the old man had more ambition, we would have grown up with more comfort. Carla agreed. She was embarrassed to bring friends home because our house was simple. 3 bedrooms, small backyard, old car in the garage. I was the youngest. Maybe that's why I saw things differently. While my siblings demanded more from my dad, I paid attention to what he actually did. And he did strange things, things that only make sense now. Here's what most people don't realize about genuinely wealthy people. They're invisible. A 2023 UBS survey of millionaires around the world revealed something fascinating. 79% of first-generation millionaires, meaning those who built their own fortune, never bought a luxury car in their lives. Never. My dad fit that profile perfectly, but nobody in the family could see it. Let me give you the signs that were right in front of our faces. Sign number 1. My dad never, ever, under any circumstances, took on consumer debt. Never financed a TV, never financed a car, never used an overdraft. He used to say something I found strange at the time. Poor people pay interest, rich people earn interest. Sign number 2. Every month on the 5th, he went to the bank, religiously. I thought it was to pay bills. It wasn't. Sign number 3. He read a lot, but not fiction. He read reports, boring stuff, papers I didn't understand. Sign number 4. When my siblings turned 18, my dad made them the same offer. I'll give you $35,000 now, or you wait and receive it when I die. Marcus and Carla took the $35,000 immediately. Marcus bought a car. Carla went traveling through Europe and invested in experiences. When I turned 18, he made me the same offer. I asked, "Dad, if I wait, how much will it be?" He smiled. It was one of the only times I saw him smile that way, and said, "You're the only one who asked the right question." I waited. My dad passed away in March 2023. Pancreatic cancer. It was fast. 3 months between diagnosis and the funeral. On the day of the will reading, the 3 of us siblings were there, plus his lawyer, a gentleman who had apparently been handling my dad's affairs for over 25 years. 25 years! None of us even knew my dad had a lawyer. The lawyer started explaining the structure. My dad had 3 things: the house where we grew up, a bank account, and an investment portfolio. The house was divided equally among the 3 of us. Okay, normal. The bank account had $32,000, also divided by 3, about $10,700 each. My siblings started looking disappointed. That's it? I could see Marcus thinking. Then the lawyer said, "Now the investment portfolio." He explained that in 1993, my dad started investing systematically, every month, without exception, for 30 years. This is where it gets really interesting. The total value of the portfolio at the date of death was $3.4 million. My brother choked, literally choked on his own saliva. But the surprise wasn't over. The lawyer continued, "As per Mr. Anthony's instructions, the investment portfolio will be transferred in its entirety to his youngest son." Silence. Carla looked at me like I had stolen something from her. Marcus turned red. He started stuttering. This is illegal, The lawyer, calm as ever, explained, "It's perfectly legal. Your father structured this in advance. You 2 already received your share early. $35,000 each in 2005 and 2008. The receipts are here, signed by you. Yeah, that $35,000 my siblings blew through, that was their inheritance. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how did a guy making $3,200 a month accumulate almost $3.4 million? Let's do the math, because I did, obsessively. In the months after the funeral, I reconstructed my dad's entire strategy. My dad invested, on average, 30% of his net salary. 30%. Sounds like a lot? Most Americans invest zero, literally zero. According to Federal Reserve data from 2023, 37% of Americans couldn't cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing money or selling something. So 30% of his salary came out to approximately $960 a month. He started in 1993, back when the market was completely different. He had strategies for different economic cycles that I'm still studying. But let's simplify. Let's take 1995 forward, once things stabilized after the early 1990s recession. If he invested $960 a month for 28 years, with an average return of 10% per year, which is achievable in the U.S. stock market over the long term, the math looks like this. Total contributions, $960 times 12 months times 28 years, equals $322,560 invested. Final value with compound interest, approximately $3.1 million. The other $300,000 came from some specific wins he had in stocks from companies he knew in the automotive sector. He invested in what he understood. Now, let me show you the contrast. The $35,000 Marcus took in 2005, if he had left it invested for the same 18 years until 2023 with the same 10% per year, would have turned into $194,000. He spent it on a car that's worth zero today. Carla's $35,000 in 2008 would have turned into $137,000. She spent it on experiences that became Facebook photos nobody looks at anymore. This is the most brutal opportunity cost that exists, the cost of impatience. Look, I could end the video here, but the most important part isn't the math. It's understanding why my dad managed to do this while 99% of people couldn't. Here's what most people don't realize. Building wealth is less about how much you earn and more about how you think. My dad had 3 psychological characteristics that I only understood afterward. First, he had a very vivid future self. Stanford psychologists conducted a study in 2011 that showed people who can clearly visualize their future self, how they'll be at 70, 80 years old, save on average 30% more than people who can't. My dad talked about the future as if he was already there. He would say things like, "When I retire, I'll be able to really help you guys." He didn't see invested money as money lost in the present. He saw it as a gift for future Anthony. Second, he was immune to social pressure. This is extremely rare. Most of us buy things we don't need, with money we don't have, to impress people we don't like. My dad didn't have that need. When Marcus bought a financed car and kept showing it off, my dad didn't feel envy. He felt pity. He watched Marcus drowning in interest payments and thought, poor guy. A Princeton University study showed that the desire for social status activates the same brain areas as drug addiction. My dad was, somehow, immune to this addiction. Third, he understood the difference between price and value. My dad spent money, but he spent it on value. Good food, education. He always paid for the best courses he could afford for us. Preventative maintenance on everything. But he didn't spend on price. He didn't buy expensive things to look rich. He bought quality things that lasted. The pickup truck he used for 23 years, he did all the maintenance on schedule, changed the oil religiously. It never let him down. The cost per mile driven was a fraction of what my siblings spent trading cars every 3 years. I know you want to know, how did my relationship with my siblings turn out? I'll be honest, it was hard, really hard. Marcus hasn't spoken to me in almost 3 years. He hired a lawyer to try to contest the will. He lost, spent another $28,000 in legal fees trying to take something from me. Ironic, right? Carla took longer, but eventually accepted it. We talk, it's not like before, but it's something. But here's the part that might surprise you. I didn't keep the $3.4 million. I mean, technically I kept it, but I didn't blow through it. I did exactly what my dad would have done. I kept 70% invested, exactly the same strategy he used. I took out 30%, about $1 million, and did 3 things. Paid off my apartment, no debt, 0. Created an emergency fund covering 3 years of expenses. And here's the part my siblings don't know. I created 2 education funds, one for Marcus's son, one for Carla's daughter, my niece and nephew, $100,000 in each, locked until they turned 25. Because in the end, my dad didn't leave me money. He left me a responsibility, the responsibility to break the cycle, to not be the generation that spends, to be the generation that builds. Now, you might be thinking, cool story, Nick, but I don't have 30 years to wait or a rich dad. And you're right. But here are the practical lessons you can apply today. Lesson 1. Pay yourself first. It's non-negotiable. My dad didn't invest what was left over. He invested first and lived on what remained. Set up an automatic transfer. The day your paycheck lands, 10, 15, 20%, whatever you can manage, goes straight to investments. You'll adapt to what's left. Lesson 2. Time in the market greater than timing. My dad didn't try to guess when to buy or sell. He bought every month. Over 30 years, he rode through crashes, booms, everything. It didn't matter. In the long run, consistency won. Lesson 3. Beware of found money. That $35,000 my siblings got, to them it was free money. Inheritance money, lottery winnings, bonuses. We treat it differently than money we sweat for through our work, and we spend it more easily. Don't fall into that trap. All money is money. Lesson 4. Invisibility is a superpower. The fewer people who know about your financial situation, the less pressure you'll feel to spend. My dad never told anyone, not even his kids, how much he had, and that protected him from requests, from expectations, from judgments. Lesson 5. Teach by example, not by lecture. My dad never sat us down to give finance lessons. He simply lived the principles. I learned by observing. My siblings didn't observe. The difference was $3.4 million. Now, here's the thing. My dad wasn't a genius. He wasn't an extraordinary investor. He didn't get lucky. He didn't inherit anything. He was an ordinary guy who understood a simple truth. Wealth is silence. While everyone else is shouting about how much they earn, how much they spend, how much they have, truly wealthy people are quiet, accumulating, waiting. And when they're gone, they leave a legacy that speaks louder than any show of wealth during their lifetime. My dad never told me he loved me. It wasn't his style. But that will said everything. He spent 30 years watching me, seeing that I was the only one who didn't take the easy money, the only one who asked the right question, the only one who understood. And he rewarded me, not with money, with trust, with responsibility, with the mission to continue what he started. If this video made you think differently about money, even a little bit, leave a like. If you know someone who needs to hear this, send it to them. And if you want me to detail my dad's investment strategy, exactly where he put his money, how he chose stocks, how he rebalanced, comment Anthony's strategy below, and I'll make a video just about that. I'm Nick. See you in the next one.